Hello, how are you all doing? We're happy to have people from all over the world here. If you're new, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This war didn't come out of nowhere. 40 years ago, I warned that the biggest threat to Israel's existence was the Islamic regime that rose to power in Iran. I also warned they would pursue nuclear weapons. People mocked me and said I had political motives. I couldn't get our defense systems mobilized to act against Iran's nuclear program. Even the United States formed a shameful agreement with them, allowing Iran to gradually develop a nuclear system. Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Asif recently stated that Pakistan will stand with Iran and confront Israel. He added that Pakistan is ready to support Iran with everything it has. Yes, Sonia, there's pressure on the United States president from some Republican members, especially key campaign donors, who are demanding that the United States intervene militarily in this conflict. Meanwhile, Yemen's missile forces carried out a military operation targeting sensitive Israeli sites in occupied Yaf using multiple hypersonic ballistic missiles, dubbed Palestine II. These strikes occurred over the past 24 hours and were coordinated with Iranian military and Revolutionary Guard operations. Tehran declared that the revenge party isn't over and that a new weapon has entered the battlefield, with devastating results. At the same time, Israeli airstrikes targeted Iran's nuclear facilities and natural gas depots. Netanyahu declared this a battle for Israel's very survival. China, for its part, sent a gift to Tehran. Negotiations with the United States are on their last breath, and Oman has effectively declared them dead. Tel Aviv is requesting United States support. Support to destroy Iran's Fordow facility, but Iran's defenses shot down another F-35 fighter jet. Israel's defense minister says a dramatic night is ahead for Tehran. Tel Aviv has vowed to overthrow the Iranian regime, and Jordan has reportedly helped intercept Iranian missiles before they reach Tel Aviv. Israel openly threatened to assassinate Iran's supreme leader. In response, Iran used a military tactic that dates back to World War II, and Tehran promised to bring down Netanyahu's government. Netanyahu responded that the war won't end until Iran's nuclear program is completely dismantled. In a surprising move, Saudi Arabia announced its support for Iran. Pakistan warned that if the United States intervenes, it will too, and it's ready to use its nuclear weapons. Trump chimed in, saying the United States will join the war if necessary. Washington has deployed an aircraft carrier to the Arabian Sea. The Houthis mocked Mossad and joined in bombing Tel Aviv. It was, honestly, a night straight from hell. The war between Iran and Tel Aviv is blazing, and the strikes just haven't stopped. On one side, Israel is bombing nuclear sites. On the other, Iran is hitting infrastructure and gas lines. According to Reuters, Netanyahu said Israeli air forces struck sites in Tehran and promised more attacks on nuclear facilities. He emphasized that this is, in his words, an existential war. Netanyahu added that Tel Aviv suffered a major blow to Iran's main enrichment site and claimed the Israeli military also targeted Iran's top nuclear scientists. Israel's chief of staff and Air Force commander confirmed military operations inside Iran. Hebrew media reported that the strike hit key facilities, including a natural gas depot in the Fajr Jam refinery in Bushehr and installations in the South Pars gas field. In contrast, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian announced that advanced Israeli equipment had been shot down. Tehran confirmed that Ali Shamkhani, former defense minister and advisor to the supreme leader, died from wounds caused by one of the attacks. On the international front, China condemned the Israeli attacks on Iran as a dangerous escalation with catastrophic consequences. It called on influential countries to intervene and stop the escalation, reaffirming its support for Iran's sovereignty and right to defend itself. While the United States officially says it doesn't plan to get involved, American officials expressed willingness to return to negotiations. Meanwhile, Oman formally cancelled the scheduled talks between the United States and Iran, stressing that dialogue is crucial to ending the war. Hebrew analysts said that the success of the Israeli strikes hinges on destroying the heavily fortified Fordow facility, which would require major US backing. US and Israeli sources admitted that it's extremely difficult to completely destroy Iran's nuclear infrastructure, but the damage inflicted will delay Iran's program for many years. Iranian state TV reported that Iran's air defenses shot down another Israeli F-35 fighter jet, using a domestically built defense system, according to Sputnik. The search is ongoing for the pilot. This marks the third F-35 downed in the current conflict. On the other side, the Israeli military announced a massive assault involving over 70 warplanes, hitting more than 40 military targets in Tehran, including missile systems, air defenses, and critical infrastructure. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz promised more strikes and said a dramatic night awaits Iran. Netanyahu accused Iran of attempting to assassinate former US President Donald Trump twice. He also claimed Tehran is trying to smuggle nuclear weapons to its proxies in Yemen and Lebanon to use them in attacks, calling it nuclear terrorism. Israeli media reported that Tel Aviv began targeting Iran's oil and gas sites in retaliation for missile strikes on civilian areas. Channel 13 said the Israeli Security Cabinet is considering whether this war will end with the fall of the Iranian regime. Israeli Air Force launches major strikes, Iran fires back, and regional powers react. The Israeli military launched a series of intense airstrikes targeting Iran's Ministry of Defense, its nuclear program headquarters, labs, and major oil facilities in Tehran. Channel 15 reported that one of the hit facilities supplies the Iranian capital with 7 million liters of oil daily. In response, Iran's Fars news agency said that Iran fired Emad, Qadr, and Khaybar missiles at Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv and Haifa. In a shocking twist, the Roya News Network reported the assassination of the deputy head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard intelligence in Tehran, allegedly by Israeli intelligence. Meanwhile, in Jordan, fires broke out in the city of Irbid after the Jordanian army intercepted several Iranian drones headed toward Tel Aviv. As the conflict escalated, Iran's Revolutionary Guard announced a new wave of attacks on Tel Aviv, coinciding with statements from top officials in both Tehran and Tel Aviv. An Iranian security official stated, "Iran didn't start this war, but we'll decide how and when it ends." On the other side, the Wall Street Journal quoted an Israeli official explicitly threatening to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, a sharp and honestly unprecedented escalation. According to BBC reports, Iran began using decoy tactics, placing fake rocket launchers made of aluminum and cardboard in open areas to lure Israeli drones and planes into wasting missiles on false targets. These dummy setups are just a distraction. The real launch sites are hidden in mountains and protected areas, heavily guarded and out of view. Sources say Israel ended up bombing fake targets, while Iran kept its real missile systems secure and operational. As a precaution, Tel Aviv declared a state of emergency, warning residents to seek shelter amid signs of more Iranian military activity. In Haifa, Sputnik News shared footage of high-speed missiles striking an oil refinery, likely in retaliation for Israeli strikes on Iran's oil infrastructure. The Revolutionary Guard confirmed continued attacks on Tel Aviv, promising that future operations would be even more aggressive and widespread. An Iranian security official said his country was defending its people against Israeli brutality, predicting that the war would ultimately end the Netanyahu government and its political system. Back in Tel Aviv, the Wall Street Journal quoted an Israeli official saying the war will not end until Iran's nuclear program is dismantled or rendered useless. He added that all options are on the table, especially if Iran starts targeting civilians. Knesset member Oren Hazan told Channel 15 that it's unrealistic to expect Iran to surrender in a few days, noting that Iran has been building its military for 40 years, much like the resilience shown by Palestinian factions over a year and a half of war. In a surprising move, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman expressed support for Iran, stating that Saudi Arabia stands firmly with Tehran and emphasizing the unity of the Islamic world in the face of what he called aggression. according to Egypt's Sada El Balad website. Reuters also reported that Pakistan warned it would retaliate with a nuclear strike if Israel used nuclear weapons against Iran. Pakistan informed the United States and France that it would join the war on Iran's side if any country launched a military intervention against Tehran. Pakistan's Prime Minister told Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian that Islamabad fully supports the Iranian people and views the Israeli strikes as violations of Iran's sovereignty and international law. In a related development, Britain moved military assets, including warplanes, to the Middle East, preparing for any emergency. French media speculated that a large-scale attack on Israeli facilities may be imminent. The Iraqi government called on Washington to stop using Iraqi airspace for strikes against Iran and criticized Iraq's weak control over its territory. Baghdad was urged to file a complaint with the United Nations Security Council. Meanwhile, Axios reported that Tel Aviv had recently asked former United States President Donald Trump to join the war against Iran to help eliminate its nuclear program. RT later reported that Trump told Netanyahu the United States might join the military campaign against Iran if necessary. In another twist, reports emerged of an unidentified shipment from China heading to Iran, with no information about its contents, sparking speculation about potential military support amid the ongoing escalation. Adding to the tension, the United States aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, previously stationed near Vietnam, received an emergency order and headed toward the Arabian Sea, a clear signal that Washington may be preparing for military action or supporting ongoing operations. And from the Iranian-Israeli front to the Yemeni-Israeli one, Reuters reported confusion in Israeli media about the target of a recent assassination attempt in Yemen. Rumors swirled that it was meant to hit Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi, but the Israeli army denied that, saying the actual target was Mohammed al-Gamari, chief of staff of the Yemeni army in Sana'a. Channel 12 later confirmed that Israel failed in its attempt to assassinate Houthi commanders during a meeting in